Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Lenovo Legion Go. This retails for $699 US for the half terabyte model and $749 US for the 1 terabyte version, which is the one that I purchased that I'm about to unbox. So for those of you wondering whether or not this will be your next ultra-mobile gaming PC, I can tell you that it does promise to be the most dynamic, not necessarily, though, the most powerful, because the Ally does have the exact same processor, and I think performance is going to be basically the same for the most part. But what makes the Legion Go so impressive is that we do have a larger display, 8.8 inches, 2560 by 1600 res. Of course, that same AMD Ryzen Z1 Extreme processor, which is best in class for this sort of product, 16 gigs of soldered RAM. But the real star of the show for me, besides the fact that we're running Windows 11 and we have a micro SD card slot, as you would expect, is that we have two USB 4 ports on this. And that makes it much more dynamic. Then in addition to that, the controllers do actually come off, which means this is the first portable gaming system that really is designed to be a PC, because that right controller becomes a mouse. So for those of you who were waiting for a system like this that could serve for first-person shooters and not just games that of course, are controller-based. So basically, someone like me that prefers a mouse and keyboard. I know I don't want to say a dying breed, but this is where the Legion Go really gives you a different option. So before I get to the actual product, some paperwork. See, there seems to be another compartment here. More paperwork. And then let's get to the power brick. Now, this comes with a 65-watt Type-C charging adapter. And to my knowledge, it can support higher speeds, or rather throughput, than 65 watts. So, of course, I will be testing that and letting all of you know how much quicker we can charge this than the included power adapter. But be aware, I think the only, I won't call it Achilles of this product, is its size. And you should know that right out of the gate. If you don't care about having a larger display, that is a 144 hertz refresh rate, by the way, not capable of variable refresh. But I still don't think that that's a real problem when you talk about what this thing is capable of. Your 65 watt power brick right here. It does have a little bit of packaging on this. Really compact, as you would expect. And let's get to the product itself. Battery life, it's not going to break any records, so be prepared for that. If you were hoping that this was going to change the game from a battery life perspective, that's not what I'm anticipating. So as you can see, just like the Switch, Joy-Cons, they remove. And this is so that this basically can sit as a tablet with a kickstand, and I think that that is a very, very smart move. And I think the entire product just oozes, for lack of a better word, as I do ad lib all of my content essentially, it oozes refinement that the Steam Deck and the Ally don't have. It's like as we get each new ultra-mobile PC from a major manufacturer, that's what I'm calling this, of course, we see more refinement, more elements that other manufacturers simply haven't thought of. So I already like the packaging a lot. They're letting you know the power button is, I have this upside down now, I just realized, illuminated. It's going to let you know what performance profile you're in, and they're giving you directions to just hook it up immediately and turn it on. So that's not a bad direction. Then they're also letting you know, of course, the different modes that you can use this. Using it as you would any ultra-mobile console that runs Windows or the Steam Deck, but then the first-person shooter mode where you convert this into a mouse and keyboard experience. And then, of course, hooking it up to a monitor. Because this has USB 4, that means I can use an eGPU, which means we're going to take this to another level. And that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and slide this off. Now, this is going to be familiar for anyone who owns a Steam Deck. In fact, I have mine right here. And look, the Steam Deck is still deserves a ton of credit. It was the first product of its kind that actually was successful. And, it is the least expensive product of its kind. But as I've stated, this promises to be the most dynamic because it takes everything that the Steam Deck did right for the most part, the Ally did right for the most part, and then it just improves upon it in every way except for actual performance. From a weight standpoint, as I stated earlier, this is the biggest product of its kind. Weighs in at a little under 2 pounds, but if this is what you're looking for, an ultramobile PC that can game, and that you can take with you anywhere, and battery life is going to be roughly 2 hours max performance, but maybe you can get it to 4 hours depending on settings, resolution, all of that good stuff. This is really compelling, and I can tell you it's very nice. And the other thing most people aren't saying about it is this is the most powerful tablet in its form factor on Earth. And I love saying that when it's true. And again, for an 8.8-inch tablet, which is what this ultimately is, you will not find something more powerful. So nice D-pad, joysticks seem good. All the buttons, rudimentary clicking here. Little mouse pad right here, not as spacious and duplicated as on the Steam Deck. But again, the star of the show, this display, and then the I/O. So let's talk about that for a second before I show you the rest of the goodies there in the packaging, or the carry case, which I like that they did this. It was a missed opportunity by Asus. So power button right there, top left, which is really the top right when the device is facing you. Your headphone microphone combo jack right there. Then we have our ventilation, micro SD card slot, Type-C port, which again is a USB 4 port, the language I like to speak. So this means Thunderbolt devices as well as any USB device is going to work with this, which is phenomenal for a portable. And then our volume, plus and minus. Of course, right bumper, left bumper. I mean, everything is here that you need. And when a lot of people see the back of the two controllers, they say, well, they're different. This is for customization. No, it's for the first-person shooter mode that I showed you on the box earlier. Then we do have a physical kickstand, which I absolutely love. This makes it a tablet through and through, besides a much smarter device for portable gaming. A little bit of sticker action here, Windows, as well as the QR code for their support. I will say, this is plastic. I would have loved if they would have made this out of metal, but it still seems like solid build quality all around. Come to the bottom of the device, you can see we've got another USB 4 port, another thing I really love, as well as the docking mechanism, if you will, for this becoming a mouse. You can see the sensor there for the mouse, the on-off switch for first person versus not. And this just totally detaches, as I've mentioned. So now that you've gotten a tour of this, let me go ahead and pop the kickstand out again. I will say some people have speculated about the possibility of the micro SD card slot suffering from the same problem that the Ally had, which was in many cases cooking SD cards because of its proximity to the exhaust for the system. I will bet that Lenovo did not make that mistake here. You're talking about a company that I love both Asus and Lenovo, but Lenovo produces, they manufacture on a scale that Asus does not match. So while Asus makes amazing products, again, I own the acronym, I own an Asus 42-inch OLED, along with some other phenomenal monitors, the G15 from a couple years ago. I will tell you that from a support standpoint, Asus, still leaves a lot to be desired. Lenovo's a much bigger manufacturer, so I just believe that with that extra time, it's highly unlikely they made that mistake. Asus, on the other hand, unfortunately, that's kind of in their wheelhouse, the not finishing R&D in many cases. This is the magnetic base for the right controller that will turn into a mouse, and I will hopefully be able to show you that in a moment. And then you have a little slot also to pocket the thumbsticks from that when you remove it and turn it into the FPS mode. Also, on this case, we do have a charging port, another smart inclusion, so that you can charge this while it's sitting in its carry case. So that rounds everything out. Let's go ahead and see if I can power this on, at least, an initial boot. And this is as far as the kickstand can go, to give you a view of me in my collar. I am recovering from major surgery, so you get that little preview that it was unintended. And let's go ahead and plug this in. I'm not going to use the included 65 watt. I have a 65 watt here, so let's go ahead and grab that. And we're just going to see how this works. And again, I expect good things. Similar performance to the Ally, but a much more refined package, if you will. So we're plugged in. Now, I know it said to go through the top, but I don't think that makes any difference. We're at 50%. I'm going to go ahead and power it on, or at least attempt. Let's see if I can get this going. I did feel some haptic feedback there, and the Legion boot screen has presented itself. So really, as I stated, I think that because of the price, because of how dynamic this at least appears to be, the only reason you would pick the Ally or, of course, the Steam Deck would be because this is simply too large a device. Because in every other regard, this is just a better spec'd machine. And in addition to that, if you are like me, a fan of ultra mobile PCs, you want something that can travel really light, but still has Windows 11, you're going to be able to get your Xbox Game Pass, every platform that you could possibly want. This is going to be that machine that does it all. So I'm not going to take this through the Windows setup. You'll have to wait for an update. But the display looks really good. The RGB on the thumbsticks, the joysticks, I don't care about. In fact, most of you probably will not care about that. So it's all going to be about how well it performs. Speakers seem pretty decent, even though we're listening to a voice no one wants to hear.
Or select the accessibility icon in the bottom
corner. It's all going to be about performance, right? And the screen is a little bit bright right now, but I'm going to get things set up and then give you an update as quickly as I can. But this is a really cool machine, no question about it. Let me just see regarding removing the controllers, because I'm not familiar. It looks like there is one release button, really easy right there. It just popped right off. So again, the idea, I'm not in love with the location of this port. I can tell you that. I'm actually going to disconnect it, even though Lenovo wants me to charge it. We'll get back to that. It does have 50%. So let's go ahead and just dock this and see what that looks like. So this should be pretty straightforward. There it is. It's magnetic. It pocketed immediately. And then you're just going to remove this guy. Okay, I think I did that right. Yeah, I believe so. And I don't think you really need to remove it, but obviously it'll make more sense. And then you would just place it down. The other one, same deal. And you can remove these no look style, at least I would think. I mean, it came off very easily. Yep. And there it is in tablet mode, which I absolutely adore. I mean, this to me is in large part the selling point of having one of these. So holding that the wrong way. And that's why you got to take off the thumbstick, by the way. For comfortable handling, you're going to want that off. So I'm going to test it out, but really like the thought that went into this, the overall R&D, learning from the mistakes of other manufacturers. I think this is how you make an excellent product, and Lenovo is attuned to this. And then really, figuring out custom controllers, not controllers, but rather keyboards for this, if you want it to be more than what Lenovo's designed, which I'm on board with that as an ultra mobile PC user. That's where things are going to get really interesting. And before I end the video, I will just show you a side-by-side with the Steam Deck, which, the Steam Deck deserves credit, there's no question, but it leaves a lot to be desired, especially because it is actually nearly as large as this device, as you can see. I mean, it's a surfboard, basically. And, no kickstand, of course, with the good old Steam Deck. And the Steam Deck does not run Windows, so it's really tough to even compare them. But just to do a quick overhead, you can see that length is basically the same. So, there isn't that much of a weight difference and form factor difference, but there is a major difference in what the Legion Go is capable of, again, for people who are looking for an all-around machine that really is a computer and done much better than what Asus did with the Ally, in my opinion. Again, just preliminarily. I'm not there yet. Even the little Legion logo here, very cute. But again, that will change performance modes as you actually change them yourselves, topping out at around 25 watts of performance from what I have seen so far. But there you have it, folks. I'm interested in the comments, what all of you think. Which do you prefer? Are you prone now to go with the Legion over the Steam Deck or the Ally? I know that I gave the Ally a solid review, but I also know that it no longer is the best device of its kind on the block, based at least on what I've seen out of this preliminarily. Of course, I've got to test it in the real world. But there you have it. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe, and please stay safe. Later.